Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to New Life Live, and happy birthday, George Washington and Chris Williams, Milan, Yerkovich, joining me on President's Day. How you guys doing?
Well, thank you so much. It's good to be with everyone today, and happy President's Day. And to really stop and honor people that have gone before us, made very difficult decisions, also men who made mistakes. And,
big ones.
Yep. And yet for us to be able to say we're better off because of what they brought to us.
Yeah. I really do hope that we will all pray for the president, but also that we could just take a day, President Day, and maybe help our kids understand some values to have that we would expect in leadership and in anything. That we saw in the persevering spirits of people like Washington, Lincoln, there's some great presidents to go back, in addition to Millard Fillmore, don't know too much about him, but to go back to the great ones and just say, hey, let's look at a few headlines here, because, it isn't a small thing to be president of this great nation. So, yeah, really, so we just... Happy President's Day. Used to be just George Washington's birthday, but now it's evolved, and so we honor the office of the presidency. And in so honoring them, we're going to go to the phones right now, and we're going to talk with Michelle from Louisville, Kentucky. And I believe she is a new listener. Hi, Michelle. Welcome. How you doing?
Hello. I'm good.
Hi. Good. What's going on?
Hi.
Hi.
I was calling. My question is, as a married woman, when is it time to leave the marriage? There's been infidelity in our marriage. We've been married for 20 years. About 5 years ago, I found out that there was infidelity, and since then, there hasn't really been a lot of.
Quick question.
Hello.
Quick question.
Yes.
When you found out, what did you do?
I confronted, and I asked, and there was denial. There was excuses, because we're both Christians, and we are very well aware of what God says about even to look upon another sex or another person in a marriage. I mean, even if not, you have committed that sin. So, just being honest about it, saying we're not perfect people, but still, that there was a lot of denial. So,
and so what did you?
On, but,
okay. Did you require anything? No, I'm just curious. Did you require anything? What was your initial what happened after that? I mean, he just denied, and you guys went on, or what?
Initial response was extremely hurt, crying, and why? And then there was really no. Well, I'll tell you, but I can't explain it now. So there hasn't really, even since then, there hasn't really been a lot of explanation. I've been waiting, saying, okay, I'm waiting for this explanation, waiting for what's happening, what's going on, and I haven't gotten that. There is a child involved, our child, and preteen, and it is starting to affect him because my husband travels, and he's not here. He's not explaining. My with a teenager or a preteen in the house, they're not crazy, and I don't try to act like he's not aware. So it's just really challenging. I try to hold on as a faithful woman. I haven't left the marriage, but at this point, it's no movement. It's a hindrance, and I really feel like I'm stuck.
Okay, we'll try to give you some help right after this. You're listening to New Life Live.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met, connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, a physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Southern California February 28th to March the 1st. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back, and one of these sad situations, Michelle's husband. Michelle, Milan, I think you had a question you want to ask about this situation of unfaithfulness here.
Well, Michelle, thank you for calling us. We're a bit confused as to whether there was a literal infidelity or whether it was, as you quoted, just looking upon someone, therefore he is guilty of adultery because of that verse in Matthew. So we were trying to understand, was it a literal or something with his eyes?
It was literal. I heard the conversation. I heard a conversation he was having, and it was literal, along with on the phone, or if you want to call it phone infidelity, or I'm not sure the language, but
well, did they have a physical relationship sexually, or
yes.
was it texting?
Yes,
and
they did.
Okay, thank you so much. That helps a lot.
Along with texting.
Well, of course,
and
yeah.
Along with a physical relationship.
Okay.
Yes.
That's so
and
sad.
he still works with this person.
Okay.
This person is still around.
So I have a question for you. Your question is, when is it time to leave my marriage? And I would ask a different question. When's it time to try to fight for the marriage? And how have you been fighting for the marriage? It sounds like you're, and this is just a question, it sounds like you're waiting for him to do something. He does not appear to be taking action. And I'm just wondering, you know, I would say you always want to fight harder before you walk away from a marriage. And so what are you doing to fight for it?
I have sought counseling for myself to see exactly what to do or where kind of it went wrong, which is difficult because he's not involved.
Right.
He won't be involved.
Why? He just doesn't want to go with you?
Just tell. Right, does not want to go. So the person only hears my side, which they don't get to hear his side, and then ultimately the truth, because I have a perception, he has one, and then the truth is in there somewhere. So it's that's what I've tried to do. I've prayed, I've fasted, and I think a lot of it for me has to do with fear. I'm afraid, moving and afraid because I'm not totally sure I'm making the right decision.
Sure, of course.
And afraid that we have a child, so I don't want to, because I always, even calling is difficult because I always want to try to honor my husband and cover him as much as I can. But it's been a challenge. So that's what I've been doing. So I feel like I've just been holding on. And you're right, trying to hold and waiting for him to, in the process of doing that, waiting for him to do something.
Well, it's been 5 years, so that's a long time. You've been separated 2 years.
Yeah.
That's just a long time.
Yeah. And Michelle, I have some just real, I guess, abrupt thing to tell you. You're holding on to something that doesn't exist. You're separated for 2 years. Nothing's changed. Nothing has changed. You guys aren't together. He has committed infidelity. He hasn't done anything about it. There's not a marriage here.
I got you.
So So tell me, what are you afraid of? If you move on, or you said that you're afraid that you're going to make a wrong decision or something's going to happen.
I think I'm afraid to let go. It's been 20 years, and I think I'm afraid to be alone and be totally, in which I've already been totally responsible as far as financially.
Well, Michelle, let me say this. That is completely legitimate. Letting go is really, really difficult. This
Really
is
hard.
a deep, deep grief to lose a relationship that is this important. But you are participating in his denial, and it's keeping you stuck. And it's actually the first part of the grief process that keeps us there, moving through it to eventually what we want to get to is acceptance. I mean, I would encourage, like, if you haven't already done this, to lay down an ultimatum. You know, husband, you go attend Every Man's Battle, or we go to couples counseling together and we do a disclosure of what's happening, what happened, and we address what needs to be worked on in the marriage, or this is over.
Right.
Okay.
And now, let me mention something here. You said you want to honor your husband, but we don't want to honor dishonorable behavior, right?
Behavior. You're correct. You're correct.
Okay, and also, we don't want to enable dishonorable or evil behavior. And so there's another element here of why we need to take action. Your son, the best thing would be for him to have a father and mother that displayed courage in the worst of times, right? That would be the best thing. Father and mother. Well, Dad's not going to do that. Now it's time for you to model doing the thing that you're afraid of doing, showing the courage that he needs to see, and showing that evil behavior has consequences. So for a lot of reasons, just maintaining status quo really kind of enables the evil just to exist, and that is really confusing to a boy.
How old is your son? How old is he?
He is 17.
Okay.
Just turned 17.
Well, I heard you say that you're covering for your husband, and you know, my philosophy, this is purely mine, that by the time a young person is 18 years old, they really need to know what the family system is and what's gone on there and what the family secrets are. And that's part of their entree into adulthood, the good news and the bad news and the ugly news. So your son, as Steve said, he needs to see action. He needs to have that modeled, and he needs to see that there's right and wrong. And we need to, in the name of holiness, you're committed to your marriage or a Christian, we need to do the next right thing, as Steve says.
Okay. Now, if you'll hold on, I'm going to send you a couple of things. One, for you to send to your husband, worthy of her trust. I'm also going to send you a copy of the new edition of Every Man's Battle to give to your son. And for you, I'm going to send you a Restoration Bible. Now, here's the thing. We had Sheila Walsh on the program earlier this week, and we were talking about prayer. But so often we are praying for God to do something, and God may be waiting for us to do something also. So please, we want to do whatever we can do here. And just like Chris said, the reaction to all of this, it's so understandable. But we can't just say that we have hope if there's no foundation for hope. Hope has, there's truth involved with hope. If we don't have any truth or evidence that there's some hope, then what we're doing is we're just wishing, or we have what's called false hope. We don't want that for any of you. So if you need some help with any of this, you call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. If you're a man, you're struggling, come join us for Every Man's Battle. If you are a person in need of a brand new start. Come to Finding Freedom that Chris and I are going to be doing March 15th. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That is the phone number to call. All right, let's go over here and talk with Bill, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, WBYN. Bill, how you doing? Hi.
Hello, how are you guys?
Good.
Great. What's going on?
Good. Hey, I did have some questions. One thing I'm trying to find out is my wife deals with severe anxiety and depression, okay? And we're both born again, and we're both trusting the Lord to do what He can do and everything, but I just feel that I'm missing some way, or like what I can do, or we've been married 25 years, okay, and we've been together almost 27, and it's just to a point now, like, what do we do? I mean, are we missing something to get her healing or her deliverance from this?
Okay.
And how somebody that doesn't have anxiety to be the helper that I need to be.
Quick question, and then I want to start with Bill. Quick question, then I want to start with Milan here, then we'll go to Chris. Does she have any kind of sense of the why?
Of the why? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
We went through counseling. She went, no. No, I don't. It just came on like everything was normal, as normal married couples can be, and then bang, one day.
Okay.
And then she was agoraphobic for over a year.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's let Milan delve into this, and then Chris.
Well, Bill, thank you for your call. I love your advocacy for your wife. I mean, that's really cool. And I would respect that you're very frustrated, and it makes a lot of sense. I'm going to take two words off the table that you put on, and that is the word healing and deliverance. Those are terms that are used very frequently in certain church circles. And those two, I don't know that in the sense that they're used, that's how we would want to use them. What we would say is there needs to be an ability to face our histories and find out what fear or trauma was recently enlivened, if you will, that had been lying dormant for a period of time. And because if she just one day flipped a switch and all of a sudden was agoraphobic and excessively anxious, then that tells me, and I don't think Steve or Chris will disagree on this, that there's something historically that got pulled up, and then she was absolutely in a state of massive fear. That happened to me once upon a time about 40 years ago. And what my journey of healing, and I'm going to use healing in a different word than maybe you used it, it was about growth and also healing from and grieving the trauma and the things that put fear inside me from a long time ago. And I'll say this last thing before Chris takes over. There's a fallacy in the church that if any man is in Christ, he's a new creature. The old things have passed away. Behold, new things have come. Many people think, therefore, we don't look back. But the fallacy of that is God does not erase our C drive. He doesn't erase our history. And so we tend to ignore it, yet it would be very, very important for her to find someone that would, from a traumatic viewpoint, explore history with her. Chris, what do you think? This is your specialty.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, just to add on to what you've said, Milan, is that in Steve's important question, if you don't know what the why is, you don't know what to go after. I mean, there is biological propensities towards anxiety and depression. What is the family history? But also, like Milan was saying, what are the experiences in her life that got caught up in her fear zone? And so our fear memory is actually the strongest memory we have. That's why anxiety and panic are so sticky and so hard to move through. And so, like Milan was saying, we got to get into a safe environment where she can start seeing and talking through her history. And you can begin that, Bill, actually with Milan and Kay's Comfort Circle by asking her, does that remind you of something? Does that remind you of your past? Is there something there? And really being inquisitive, not interrogating, but just interested in her.
Now, Bill, I want you to hold on because I want to clarify that this immediate onset of intense anxiety or agoraphobia, it doesn't have to be some event, and I want to talk to you about that. It can be something other than an event, and if we're just looking at events, then we might say, well, nothing really happened there. Talk about that right after this. You're listening to New Life Live, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We want to help you.
My wife asked me for the first time in 2011 if I would consider myself a sex addict, so I signed up. You know, I'd read the Every Man's Battle book, and it was a great book, but the workshop, it was the experience that really was key for me. If they go to EMB, they're going to be in good hands. You know, this is a safe place. They're going to be surrounded by men that simply walk the talk. The weekend leaders that they will go through this workshop with, they'll help them to get to the root of their issues. You know, I've been through a number of well-preached sermons, listened to and read countless books, been to a number of seminars, but EMB for me was a game changer. It truly saved my life. Being in this community, being in this workshop, being around these men will change them if they'll let them. You're going to encounter men that will meet you where you're at, and you will instantly walk into a safe place where they're welcome.
If you're struggling, call us. We don't want you to go on struggling. Just give us a call. It's 1-800-639-5433. It's 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back talking with Bill, and married 25 years and wife full of anxiety here. So Bill, I don't know what that noise was, but Bill, I mentioned to you, it doesn't have to be an event that brings this on. Sometimes some dots just kind of come together for a person, no event at all. For instance, you know, Milan was mentioning somebody might one day just have this awareness, oh my goodness, I'm going to be sitting in this cubicle, in this job for the rest of my life, and all of a sudden just fear engulfs them. You know, there's so many things. It's almost like you could talk about a trauma being hit by a Mack truck, but the trauma of 1,000 cuts, you know, and are just 1,000 little tiny fears coming together, or a growing awareness of something. It could be something that she would never even voice to you, that all of a sudden came upon her. And so I think like the more you have an opportunity to listen to her and be safe with her, I think maybe, you know, the more she's able to get in touch with what did happen. Because here's what I believe. I really believe life makes sense. I believe that there's a reason that these things happen, and that's why that's why my first question was any idea about the reason. So having said all of that, tell us what you're thinking and feeling about the things that we've said so far.
Well, no, I hear everything, and if Milan can go back a little bit and kind of elaborate a little bit on what he was talking about. Like I said, when we were going back, we were just out at dinner, and like I said, we had a good marriage. Everything was going well, and we were both working, and bills were getting paid, and it's just she thought she was having a heart attack, and just the pain she had in her chest. And like I said, I got her home, and after she stayed for over a year, she had to leave her job. She couldn't drive. She stayed in the bedroom for about the first 3 months or so. Didn't come out, and just completely.
Did you take her to? Did you take her to a doctor, a professional counselor, not a Christian ministerial counselor?
No.
Okay, and
well, no. My it was I couldn't get her out.
Well,
I could not get her. It was really bad. But my insurance at the time paid to have a psychologist, psychiatrist, somebody come out to the house.
Wow, that's good. And what'd they say?
To prescribe medicine.
And did they?
Well, they just said it's a chemical imbalance. Here's the medicine, and it took a long time for that to click in. The medicine and prayer and her reading her Bible and to get her out.
Okay, so that's really important. And is she still on medication?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but let me just put on real quick there. There was an evangelist that a speaker, a great person that the Lord had used had healed me of something when I was younger through this evangelist. That when I was a little boy, I went to see him, and the Lord delivered me of something. He was a couple of towns away. Well, we prayed and prayed. I heard he was there. I called him on the phone, and he said, "Bill, if it takes an ambulance to get your wife here, get her here because God's going to deliver her."
Mm-hmm.
So, long story short, we got her on the floor of a van, and I'm holding her, and we drove up to see him, and he and the Lord delivered her. Okay, she got prayed for. And we believe that these bonds and that, were broken, and these chains were broken, and she was doing very well for a long time, and then it slowly crept back in, and kind of overtaken her again.
Okay, so I accept your testimony of a temporary deliverance. Then I'm going to rephrase it that way, but. We would view it very much as neurological. The brain has a propensity to be in a position where it responds to usage. And so what happens is it builds new neural pathways as soon as certain thought patterns start. And the right medication can slow that process down a lot. And the right therapy with a person that can help her explore the history, and as Steve wonderfully said a few minutes ago, what is the history inside of her life, and as Chris said, that contributed to her fear memories that are very sticky because something got pulled up again. So important headlines for me: psychologist or therapist, psychiatrist for med checks all the time, and then being on the right medication to help her get into a place where she's stronger.
And if I could just say one more thing, under stress, we digress. Mm-hmm. We go back to old patterns. Mm-hmm. And if we operated out of fear, and again, panic is a really extreme form of it, then it's going to take not just a deliverance, but a new way of approaching life and actual new things, disciplines over time, so that we function in a completely different way or in a new way.
Okay, Bill, I'm going to send you Healing is a Choice. There are some great choices that get us in the place to maximize the potential for healing. I would say to you, don't ever give up the search for what could be helpful. Keep her involved in getting any kind of help that she can, and don't be discouraged. Persevere. You be the one.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. We're going to go to, let's talk with Renee, Cleveland, Ohio, listening on Sirius XM satellite radio. Renee, how are you doing? What's going on in your life today? Welcome to New Life.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for taking my call. My son is 4 years old, and he has a semi-severe and pretty aggressive form of epilepsy.
Okay.
And on the 24th February, we are supposed to go in for surgery for him. They're going to do brain surgery to try and stop these, at least some of the type of seizures he's having.
Right.
That's sad. We're sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess my question is, how do I prepare my family? What can I do to help? I have not only my 4-year-old, but I have a 13 and 11-year-old, and my 13-year-old has autism. And sometimes he has a hard time, understanding things. He asked me how the surgery would affect my youngest, affect his personality. And I don't have the answer to that question.
Right.
So what can I do to kind of prepare not only, my little guy, but my older two? What can I do to prepare them for this surgery?
Okay. Well, I think this is one of the big challenges of life. Has to be one of the big challenges of life, when things that are difficult for us to even understand or comprehend, now we're supposed to make some kind of sense of it to our kids, right?
Right.
So one of the things we can start with is, I don't have all the answers. But I want us to talk about this so that we can understand all of the different things that might happen and what is going to be the same no matter what happens. For instance, God, His love will never change. His desire for us to get better will never change. And our love for you and for our boy that's going into surgery, none of that is going to change. Love is going to be the constant. We're going to stay a family. Nothing is going to change that. That's where you can begin. And Chris, you can take it to the more difficult areas.
Well,
that's something we can do.
I think providing them a safe place to feel what they feel. That there's going to be a lot of different things, that a lot of fear, maybe some, as Steve said, confusion, a lot of hopefulness, but a lot of uncertainty. And I think holding together in support of one another through the uncertainty, and not always, if we're uncertain, it's okay to be uncertain. But we hold on to a faith and we hold on to love through that time period, or through whatever this experience is going to be. And I think actually, if we try to speak to certainty where it's uncertain, I don't think that's, it sounds good in the moment, but it's like sugar, like psychological sugar.
Yeah.
It helps you feel better in the moment, but it actually is not healthy in the long run. And so just really providing a safe place for your 11 and 13-year-old to feel what they feel, and to talk about it. But also, and the one thing, again, Milan mentioned this in a previous call, is we hold on to hope. We hold on to our faith throughout these times.
So you assure them love is always there, give them a safe place to share. You're holding on to hope. Milan, what's your thought?
Renee, this is very, very hard to go through, and I can't imagine what it would be like for you, but I hear fear inside of you, and I wanted, is there fear inside of you? What are you feeling? And then number two, what support do you have for precisely those emotions on the inside, like fear, anxiety, apprehension, depression?
I know that no matter what happens, that God has a plan through all of this. I've never doubted that for a second. Yes, of course, this is unbearably hard.
Sure.
You know, people say, he'll never put more on you than you can handle. And as Christians, I think that's a dangerous idea, because yes, of course he's going to put more on us than we can handle, because if we could handle it, we wouldn't need him.
That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And we wouldn't need others, is the other thing.
So, Renee, do you have people that are not saying wrong things, people who are saying the right things, that are helping you through this?
I have a friend that we live with, and he has been a great support through all of this. We've lived with him for about 3 years now, and we've been here through the entire journey, and he's just been a great support. I'm currently, I see an outside counselor, and although she's not a Christian counselor, she is Christian. And she takes not only the spiritual and the Christian aspects, but she also brings in the the medical and professional aspects. That it's not that sometimes praying isn't. So I'm trying to find the right way to say this without it coming out wrong, because of course we pray, and prayer is
well,
incredibly
let me just say it
important.
this way for you. Praying all by itself sometimes can, without preparation, it isn't enough. We need both what you're doing. You're praying and you're preparing, and you're trying to prepare your family. And I think that's a really, really good thing to do. And so I hope something we've said here is powerful. I'm going to send you this book. We had Sheila Walsh on, and I'll send you her book on prayer. I think it's a great comforting book in situations like this. But what I want to be able to say is that, God's going to make everything okay, and we know that isn't true. He doesn't say he'll prevent our tears. He just says he'll wipe them away. That's our reality. But we just do the best we can, and we never give up in trusting him, putting more on him as we do the best that we can. And then sometimes it is amazing when we think we have nothing, no answers, no hope, then he gives us the hope we've been looking for. The answers come to us that can guide and strengthen our family and all of us. But I'll tell you, I know God is there for you. I hope, as Milan's saying, you've got other people that are there for you, and that you make it okay for the other kids that we heard in the background there to be whoever they are, whatever they're feeling, that it's always okay for them to experience that. Let me send you a copy of one of these great devotionals, 100 Days of Healing, and I hope that will help you in the aftermath of all of this. I hope it'll be a blessing to you. And I'm going to ask all of us, all the folks here, to pray that we could combine efforts and that we could pray for you in a way that, maybe you just stop right now. We just pray for this little boy. He's 4 years old. Pray for him. We pray for you. Pray for the other family members. That God, you give them peace, wisdom, understanding. And we pray for healing.
Yes.
For them. And we give you all the glory as to what's going to happen. Oh my goodness, so many things happen in our lives. Without faith, we will not get through them. They require every ounce of faith possible. We have to do our part while we're asking God to do his part. Well, I'm really glad that she called. If you need some help, if you're struggling, I know God will be there for you in that struggle, but we can be there for you too if you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Let me remind you, Chris and I are going to be doing Finding Freedom. If you're stuck, if you don't know what to do next, Finding Freedom, March 15th in Orange County. It can help you with the fear, the depression, just the unknowing. That's what we're there for in Finding Freedom. Also, we've sold out. Milan and I are going to be doing the Intimacy in Marriage. That is sold out, but you could join us July the 24th. That's the next time we're going to be doing our Intimacy in Marriage Intensive. Every Man's Battle is March the 6th. So many of you guys could benefit so much from that. And as you know, a gift of any amount will send you the brand new book, 4 million in the series out there. Every Man's Battle, 20-year anniversary, revised, updated, new brain science. It's all there. Call us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'll be back after this.
She said, we need to talk. She's asked me for the first time if I would consider myself a sex addict. I thought it was just about admitting the things that I had done wrong. I never had a clue that it was about redeeming our story. I thought it was just about coming clean on what I had done. I had no idea how to help her with her pain. She was a mess, I was a mess, and we got divorced. Going to EMB, surrounding myself with these other men, they accepted me for who I was and what I had done, but they challenged me to step up and do better. They'll be around other men who are not just pointing the finger, but willing to get in and wade through it with them, get in the trenches. They'll get hope from this workshop. Take my sweet wife and my story. We were divorced, remarried, and on our way to what I think will be the sweetest years of our lives. It's no longer simply about surviving. For the first time ever, we're thriving, we're enjoying where we're at.
Hey, listen, if you're struggling, we want to see you at the workshop. Give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life Live stay in the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you a set of 4 devotionals, 100 Days of Character, Peace, Prayer, and the newly released 100 Days of Healing. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops.
I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's been immensely helpful to me. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
Support Club New Life and to help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Joining me, Milan, Yerkovich. He and Kay are the authors of How We Love, an amazing, amazing book that would benefit anybody. Chris Williams, working on his first book. He and I will be doing Finding Freedom. You can find out about that at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, newlife.com. Let's go to Kathy. Upper Marlboro country, I guess, in Maryland, you'd say. Hi, Kathy. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing okay. What's going on?
How are you doing?
Well, I'm all right today.
Let's see. Where should we start?
That's a great question.
Where should we start? Well, I'm just going to say this. I'm calling on behalf of my daughter. She and my son-in-law have been married for 4 years. They're Christian. And he came from a very dysfunctional family. Mom we're realizing that mom has bullied him all his life. He's the youngest of two others. And the family are now kind of turned against my daughter, and her husband's afraid out for her. They had his daughter from a previous relationship every other weekend, and then it became where they shared custody, so they were spending more time with her, and she was staying with them a lot more than her other mom, who's from another country. Long story short, there was a little misunderstanding, and there was an argument. With the mother and my daughter and her husband was standing together, and the daughter was alongside, and she said to the mother, if your daughter doesn't feel that like she likes the rules and regs we have in the home, then she can come back and stay with you. Well, they took that, the mother did, as if my daughter was throwing her out. That was never the case. And so that's where we are. So,
Kathy, so Kathy, bring all this down to a question that we could answer. The problem, obviously, is your daughter's husband is not willing to take a stand here. What's the question for us?
That is very true, and they are getting ready to go into therapy, but he is still very fearful of his mother and his family who have turned against his wife. So what do we do about a case like that, that he just doesn't take my daughter's side at all?
Okay, so let's start with you, Chris. What are you thinking here? This happens all the time. If a guy doesn't fully leave mommy and cleave to the new wife.
Well, Kathy, I think the first thing to recognize is where your influence or impact ends. Like there's not a whole lot that you can do to change his fear, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you go into control mode, if you try to control the situation or him, or if you go into critical mode, it is going to be unhelpful. I only say that because those are big temptations in a situation like this. So try to avoid critical and try to avoid control. Stay with compassionate, but stay with truthfulness. And so what you want to try to do is provide what I would say is a compelling family that provides the alternative to his family.
Yeah.
Like this is how we operate. And then you have to trust that. But if you lose yourself to the fact that he won't stand up, or if you become embittered towards your son-in-law, that's going to hurt you.
Milan, your thoughts here for her. What do you think might be helpful for her to consider in helping them?
Kathy, this is a great question you're posing, because this is a very common occurrence. When people fail to grow up developmentally on the inside because of fear and intimidation, trauma, being bullied, as you said, by a parent, it's very hard for the young person even though they're in a grown-up's body now, there's still little insight. And so it's really not an issue of as much rebellion as it is fear. He is afraid. I'm so glad that they're going to couples therapy and they're doing some work, because marriage is a great exposer. It exposes these weaknesses, which then we're responsible to work on to develop. And so I would highly recommend Henry Cloud's book, Changes That Heal, because it talks about all these developmental steps that we need to take. And it was very helpful to me with the same issue that your son-in-law is facing. I had to learn to get brave around my own family as well.
So here's what I want to do. I'm going to send you 2 books that are going to help you here. Now, I want to recommend that you get them a scholarship to that July Intimacy and Marriage Weekend, because that would really take this, and I think they would probably never be the same again. But in the meantime, I'm going to send you 2 copies of How We Love, and here's why. I want you to read one, and that's going to help you see how your daughter was attracted to this guy. What was it in her that would be attracted to somebody that hasn't fully left mommy? And then I want you to give her a copy, and the 2 of them read it together, and he may see how this fear-based marriage just is never, ever going to work, and he's going to have to do whatever it takes. I wish he could come to Finding Freedom and we'd get him out of that fear, but that's the best that we can do for you. In the meantime, be supportive of your daughter and encourage her to encourage him to step up. One of the things that we talk about in intimacy and marriage is this. It's important for us to always be a woman to nurture the little boy that's there. It's always there, but to call out the man. And if we shut down the man and then call out the little boy, that never, ever works. And sometimes our criticism, our judgment, our expectations, the man gets shut down, and then now you've got a little boy relating once again to a mommy figure, which they're used to. We deal with all of this in Finding Freedom. We deal with it in our Intimacy in Marriage Weekend. And guess what guys turn to when mommy's not there and the wife isn't there like mommy? They turn to pornography, and that's where Every Man's Battle comes in, March the 6th in Dallas. Anyway, go to the website, newlife.com, or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and we will help you find the right resource, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, newlife.com. Now, I want to mention, we just got this in. I got my box this weekend of Every Man's Battle. It is the revised and updated 20th anniversary edition. Look, guys, it says right there, 4 million.
Wow.
See that?
That's
4
incredible.
million in the series. And
That's awesome.
We've included all the workbooks in here. We've included all the new brain science and things we didn't know about. The bonding with oxytocin to pornography, how this causes a man to be more bonded to pornography than to his wife, and then he's aggressive against her. It's just amazing the kind of insights that are here. We didn't even know this stuff when we wrote the original book 20 years ago. Every Man's Battle. And also, don't forget, Life Recovery Bible. 3 million of those in print, and we've got 5 different workbooks that go with that. We're going to be talking more about those workbooks and the Life Recovery Bible. We love you, we care about you, and we're so grateful for every person that supports this ministry. If you can help us, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE or newlife.com. But even if you can't support us financially, prayer means so much. We believe in the power of prayer, asking the power of the Holy Spirit to do what we simply cannot do ourselves. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Milan. Thanks to all of you who listen, watch, and pray and support. See you next time. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That is the number to call. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, Steve Arterburn here. Thanks for watching New Life Live on our New Life YouTube channel. You know, you can see it anytime. Hope you'll subscribe, and when you do, hope you'll turn that little button thing on, the bell, so that whenever we post a new video, it'll ring right through. Now, if you go to newlife.com, you'll see the schedule of when we're in the studio, which is helpful to know if you have a question for the program, or you could go to newlife.com or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You could do this on the app. I mean, there's so many ways that you can stay in touch with us and know when we're there, because we want to answer your questions. So thanks for watching right here on the New Life YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Click here to subscribe.